Hello, 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 everybody. It's your girl, the Amateur Expert, coming to you live today for this episode of Asking for a Friend Friday. Super excited because I am asking for a friend, but I'm asking someone who is more like family. So it's going to be cool to have this conversation. Um, Ogum is like my brother, and so I'm so super proud and excited to have him on today. We're going to be discussing his new book, his process, and um, all things The Verge. So as soon as he hops in, we will get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be discussing his new Hold on. Got to turn off the speaker. Okay, you disconnected? Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Ogum is here, so we will get started. Welcome to Asking for a Friend Friday. So as soon as he joins, we will get started. And here we are. Hello. Oh, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I am great. Excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm honored, man. This is amazing. We've talked
Right?
about it a little while ago, and it's here.
We are here. We are in our elements. You as an author, a self-published author, and me as the host of this podcast, both living out our dreams in LA, and I'm so here for
Right.
it. So, I was having a conversation with my homegirl the other day. We were talking about, the different processes and things of that nature for writing a book. And so I want to know from you, if you can share with us, please, the process of self publishing and then just sort of the things that led you to wanting to write the book.
Okay. I'd say the process of like self-publishing, man, it was very experimental to begin with.
Okay.
Especially going into an industry that you don't really know much about. You don't have too many friends that are publishers or
For sure.
knowing circles. So to begin with, it started with a lot of questions, just asking people a lot of questions. Once I heard people talking about a friend that had an author or had a friend that was an author or something of that sort, I would remember those friends and I'd go back to
Hmm.
them and say, hey, you remember that person you were talking about? So it led me to a Facebook group. Um, it was called 20 50 books to 20K or something of that sort.
Okay.
So it's like a group that basically helps you through the process as far as learning everything about books. It was a very, very, very helpful
I love that.
resource. From there, they had a lot of links, and I went to those links and did my own research and to decide if I wanted to go with a publisher or
Hmm.
self-publishing. Um, a lot of mistakes, sending a lot of like book manuscripts to publishers for them to deny it. So I got turned down
Um,
plenty of times from publishers. Um, and that can be discouraging. But if you
for
know
sure.
you have something where you're like, I still need to put it out, don't allow that to deter you because there's going to be a lot of publishers that will turn you down because they're looking for certain niches, however you want to say that.
Yeah. And so, what led you to wanting to write the book in the first place? So, the name of your book, which we have here,
Urge,
The
the
Intentional
intentional five.
Five. Yes.
Yeah. Uh, so I've never thought I'd be a publisher, an author, or write anything. I actually didn't like English as a subject. I was
Mm,
more into numbers, math. Like that's what I enjoyed. At least that's what I thought I only enjoyed.
for sure.
So I've been in education for some time, and although I loved education, I never seen myself being contained to one particular classroom or being contained to one setting. Like I wore many hats in education, from teaching, teacher's aide to behavior intervention specialist to a dean of a school. So I
Wow.
wore every hat. Um, in wearing every hat, I realized that yes, I feel my impact is great. I felt like I had a great impact, especially just from the feedback from teachers,
Hmm.
coworkers, and parents, students. Um, but I still felt limited. I felt like um, I felt like where I was only enough for those people that I'm surrounding, and I felt like I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to share what I was doing in the classroom or share what I was doing in my office, like building with students with a larger audience. And in order to do that, I didn't know it was going to be a book. I just felt like, well, maybe I need to be a superintendent. I didn't know what it was. Uh, so that
Gotcha.
that clearly wasn't it. So I realized that it was a book, and that only happened after I left the classroom, a temporary position as a behavior intervention specialist. And I left that position. And as I left that position, I realized that I was still passionate about helping teachers. I was passionate about
Mm.
sharing my story on how I got to the places I've gone to, because no matter what situation in education I was in, I always landed a higher, I always elevated up the totem pole.
Got it.
Um, and I didn't know how to explain that to people, rather than just being the person that I was. So I felt like I needed to share that. And the only way to share it started with a manuscript. So I had a document that I was writing down basically all of the things I was doing to work with students, what was working, what wasn't working. It was a shared document that was between me, school counselors, and the dean of students at this time. And we were
Okay.
supposed to add documents within this. Um, Come to find out, I realized I was the only one really adding documents, so it was a document that I just had.
Got it.
And after sending in my letter of resignation, I still had this document, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? So I thought about creating a model for different schools.
Okay.
That was how the book started. From there, it actually changed because I realized that you can have a school system, like a model that you feel will impact the school in a certain way, but it all depended on the teachers. It all depended on how they
Yeah.
executed that vision.
Yep, that
So
makes
I
sense.
realized that that's not exactly what I wanted to do, because I wouldn't be there. I would still have to be there physically in every situation to
Yep.
explain it. So rather than doing that, so just so y'all know, I had to scrap the whole book. So I already wrote it, and I realized, no, this isn't exactly what I want to do. I don't want to create a model. So I had to scrap it, still having some of the foundational
Yeah.
elements in it, but I had to scrap it in order to now make a book that was soaked in the, because the sub is Confessions of a Disciplined Thought. So that's soaked
Mm.
in what I had to do to get to that place. So it turned into more of a reflection book versus a model of a how
How
to.
to.
You know,
So,
yeah.
question. So, how long did it take you to compile the first book? And then how long did it take you to decide that, like, you had to surrender to the actual purpose of what you were being called to do? Because I would have been
Right.
like, nah, bro, I wrote this book. Y'all gonna read it.
Right. Yeah. So it took about a year, and after
To
that year,
write
I
the
thought I
first
was
book.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
So it took about a year, and I felt really good. I felt solid about that year. I was like, yo, I got this book. I'm ready. So I sent it to a friend who's a proofreader, and I had her check it out. And I paid her a small little fee just to check it out. I was like, hey, let me know what you think about,
Mhm.
the edits and everything. Make sure it's good, my grammar. Like I said, English wasn't my first thing, but she actually really enjoyed it. And she actually said one thing that made me realize I needed to change my whole book.
Wow.
So
Okay. What did she
he
say?
said, she said, I really love what you're writing. It made me think about just things in my life. And she said, but one thing I was wondering, you said you wanted to be a community where everyone could use that type of model, but it doesn't show where the kids that are at the top of the tier can be a part of that. And I
Mm.
was like, okay. I was like, you're right. I was like, but in my mind, I knew that the top kids were a part of it, because that's just how I
Right.
thought. I just figured that everyone was inclusive.
Yeah.
So from there, I realized that just someone seeing this document may not get that. So I said that we're stuck in this place. We're stuck in this place where someone has to see it being implemented to understand exactly the heart that needs to go into it.
Right.
So I was at a dead end. So I really I had a writer's block for a little while. So after that edit, I just sat with it and sat with it. And after sitting with it, I said, I need to be a little bit more vulnerable. And
Mm.
that's the first letter in the book, Verge, for the acronym. And I realized I had to be more vulnerable, and that vulnerability meant that I would have to include a lot of what caused me to be that way in education, which
Right.
was my foundation on my spirituality, being able um, to write a book that was also crediting to God as well.
Love that.
So I was trying to write it without that,
Mm-hmm.
only because I didn't want people to not take the information because they weren't religious or what have
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a challenge. And then I thought about it and I'm like, well, and God was just like, look, what are you talking about? Like, you have to,
Yeah.
like, you didn't get where you were at all without my input. Like, everything was a collaboration. So that became the foundation of the book. And I was able to write again. And then I was able to actually write from my perspective
Love that.
versus writing from just a model that was empty, you know?
So was it easier for you, or did it take you like a shorter amount of time to finish the book the second time around after you fully surrendered and were able to be vulnerable?
I'm glad you asked that. So it actually took a short amount of time to really fully execute it from that
Mm,
point. I was just flowing. I had a nice little writing area, a few different spots where I would go and a few different like coffee shops, a few gardens I would go to. All these places had Wi-Fi. It was surprising. It was wonderful. So
love
I
it.
go there and just sit there and just write, enjoy the ambiance. There was a waterfall at one of the places that I went to go work. So it was very peaceful, and I would go there every day. I made a commitment to go there every day after um, whatever I was doing at the time. I was DJing. I was doing a few different things. So afterward, I would always take about 2-3 hours and sit and write. And it took me about, I'd say, maybe 4 months to really finish it up.
Wow.
It took me like 4 months to finish the rest, like to complete it. And then the rest of that time was more so of what the creativity of like the beauty of what the book looks like and
Yep.
learning about editors and different things like that to edit your book. So that's what took the remainder of the time.
I think that's so amazing, and it's so true. And I found that in my own self, right? When I try to do things on my own, or not press into God and what He's wanting me to do, it takes so much longer. But as soon as I surrender and give, you
Right,
know,
right,
all of it to Him, it's like clockwork. Things just start unfolding. So I'm glad that you were able to experience that, and that you also were obedient to it. Um,
right, right.
because that's the part where we sometimes fail. Um, so tell me, we can go through the rest of the letter since we talked about we are ready for vulnerability. But I also
Sure.
I want to discuss the cover and how you decided to go with the cover. So let's go through the rest of the letters.
Ooh, okay. I'm just laughing. I see Miss Jackson. We love free Wi-Fi. Of course we do, man. No matter, Starbucks is tripping now. They're taking away cords so you can't, plug in your. So
Uh,
now it's like if your juice dies out, like that's
that's it.
it. They're wilding. But yeah, V for vulnerability, E for experiences, R for relationships, G for gratitude, and then E for evaluation. Um, this was actually I came up with the acronym actually from my cousin who lives in the UK. We constantly get on a phone call every week, and we were just talking about different things that we do. And he's also an artist, like he's a rapper,
Okay.
and he was like, "Yo, let's turn it into something." So I had the acronyms, but I didn't have them in that. I forgot what it was
No order.
before. It was probably like Grieve. I don't know, something else. But no, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not really sure. I can't remember at the time. But then he sat on it and was like, "Yo, I think I got an acronym that would be even better for it." And then once he shared Verge, I just started doing a lot of research on Verge and how to make it make all sense of what I was doing. So everything in my book was a collaboration. It was being open. It was being vulnerable to take ideas and opinions from other people
Love
rather
it.
than saying, no, this is mine. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, so just to touch on a little bit of what each of those mean,
Hmm.
um, vulnerability, well, just in a quick 3 second, that's
Sure.
not 3 seconds, but vulnerability, just the idea of vulnerability, I feel like a lot of people push or move away from vulnerability because of what the definition states. There's a possibility that you can get hurt. But if
Hmm.
you really think about it, there's also a possibility that you can't get hurt. So a lot of
Hmm.
us don't really focus on that end of it. And when we focus on the truth of the word vulnerability is when we focus on the part where we may not get hurt, we realize that there are doors that open when we go toward that other side of it.
Yeah, that's so
So
good.
we tend to stick to the idea, we could get hurt. But what if we don't, right? We never know unless we take those opportunities, take those chances. Our brain wants to condition us to stay where we are. So it's such a beautiful thing to realize that vulnerability is actually what we should jump into. So my book touches a little bit about just pushing yourself, even when it's hard, when it's difficult, when it doesn't seem like it's right. Even if it's like, for an example, this is my first real live, and like some people will be like, well, nah, I've never done it, I'm not going to do something like that. But going ahead, excited to do it, knowing that the only thing that can come from it is something greater. Unless like, God forbid, somebody just comes in and robs me, and then I'll be like, okay, well, I don't like lies anymore, right?
How
But
did we
what's the
get
odds? Well, this is the thing, it's
Right.
like,
Yeah, if you allow yourself to go there, you could go there.
right, right. E for experiences. So that's the idea that we have. We always have experiences from our past that remind us of who we are. It gives us different variants of who we are, and we have experiences that are actually not our greatest selves, and then we have experiences that we even surprise ourselves of. We're like, yo, I just ran a marathon, and you're surprised of what you're capable of doing. But being able to do those things at that highest level, that experience is real. So that means you have greatness within you. So rather than focusing on the other experiences, it's being able to decide which one do you want to hold up, because whichever one you hold up is actually going to be your truth. So being able to focus on the experiences that really represent you at your highest level, because why would you want to be anything lower? The only thing that stops you is probably the vulnerability in it, all that other stuff. But if you did something one time that you're like, man, I can't believe I did that, that means that's in you, and you can do it multiple times.
You preach it. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. Relationships, building relationships. We weren't built to be on islands. If you think of anything that grows, they have a purpose that's not only for themselves. Like even trees. Trees grow. We love the way they look, but they also carry oxygen for us. They carry food for animals. So building relationships as living things, that's how we were created. And once we're able to realize that any relationship is worth trying and worth getting to know, we'll realize the gifts that we can get out of each person just by trying to build. Gratitude, just being thankful. Sometimes we go to sleep, right? We go to sleep and we're on our phones, and we wake up knowing that the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get on our phone. So that means we went to bed with the intentions of waking up and looking at our phone. With gratitude, it's basically knowing that you're going to be grateful for something that you wake up. So going to bed, recognizing that when I wake up, something amazing is going to be there for me. So putting it as a schedule, like making a plan as you go to sleep. Tomorrow's going to be amazing, right? So the willingness, the clarity in knowing that great things will happen by even sleeping on it and waking up to it. And
So,
the last thing, of course, go ahead.
sorry, before we go to that, Tiara asked, how can we build new relationships amid COVID?
Plenty of ways. For me, I don't know. This is a loaded question because I don't know what to say. You got to be correct. You got to be politically correct now with the mask and stuff. So I don't know what to say. But
in your experience, so in my experience,
in my experience, I like to get together with people during moments that are like moments that seem to be like celebratory moments. So, for an example, like if there's like a holiday or something coming, I'll reach out to a few people. Knowing the idea of COVID, I'll be clear, like, hey, look, we're going to be outside. We're going to have a cookout. I think I actually did that, and I invited Ashley.
Yep,
and just trying to bring people together in ways that are genuine. You just want to have a good time by seeing people. So in this time, it's a lot easier because people just want to see people.
Yeah.
So if you just say, hey, I just want to see you. Can we go out to the park and hang out? Or call 3 or 4 of your friends. Let's get together and just start talking about what we're doing this week. I think the best way now to build relationships is actually to be in physical proximity. Of course, within the reason of the 6 feet or whatever. But just that should be a good way to build relationships. Okay. Also, webinars. There's a lot of webinars out right now. I've joined so many free webinars and got to know so many people just through these webinars. People are open to giving information right now,
Yep.
and even in that information, I'm the guy that's gonna reach out to people in the chat like, hey,
In
what's
the
going on? I
chat.
love that you
Yeah,
said this. You know what I mean?
that's
So
so good.
I
Yeah.
like what you said here. Where are you from? What's going on? And
So
things of that
it seems
sort.
like it takes a level of vulnerability
Vulnerability.
in order
Yes,
to be able to put yourself in those positions and predicaments
absolutely.
to. Hmm.
So with verbs, everything is intertwined. One,
Hmm.
it's not one without the other. You have to, and that's the last one, evaluation. So being able to think on things moment to moment. Thank you for that, Ashley. Great segue. So, so being able to assess yourself, self-evaluate moment to moment. So in every moment, taking that opportunity to say, hey, did I use these resources the way I should? Did I speak to this person in the way I know that I am, my highest self, or did I
Hmm.
speak to him because I'm stressed or because I was a little bit tired? How did I present myself? You know, so taking every moment to assess yourself and how you interact with others,
Yeah.
and and that's the best way that we can move because we have to evaluate ourselves. It's just a way of life and who we are. I have a chapter in the section evaluation that talks a little bit more about that, and I'll wait till you guys get that to read it. I don't want to tell about everything.
That's it. You gotta leave them on the cliff. You gotta let them know there's more to come.
Right, you know?
So speaking of which, how did you decide what your cover was gonna look like?
So, I had an amazing illustrator. She's from, where's she from? It'll come back to me. But she's from, well, Morocco. She's from Morocco. And, you know, we actually, everything was talking through it. And I told her what I wanted. I told her exactly what I wanted. Did I know it was going to look like this? No. But
Mm-hmm.
I told her the elements that I wanted. I wanted someone off of a cliff. Um, and I actually I had more of a focus on the typography. So I was really into the word
Mm.
placement.
Okay.
So when I started with her, the image was kind of secondary to the typography. I wanted the words to stand out and to be beautiful. So that was what I kept talking to her about. Like, hey, let's try different styles. So we tried about 10 different variants of the typography first before we came to the picture.
Mm.
And the image to me was really important. It actually is supposed to be, this was supposed to be like an olive branch, but it really didn't make sense to, like, she was like, I don't know how to create that. What do you mean? So I was like, yeah, I get you. I was like, it's like, just make a branch. Um, so yeah, so it's just meant a guy hanging off a cliff. I wanted it to be just like that because it looks like, and I talk about this in the book as well, but I'll share a little bit of this. But it basically looks like this guy is going to die, right?
Hmm.
Does it look like he's either going to make it or not, right? It looks like he's probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
And in
Doesn't look good
that,
for doesn't look good for him.
right, it doesn't look too good for him.
Mm-mm.
But the goal in this cover is for him not to actually jump back on land. Jumping back on land is basically parallel to going back to what you're used to. So the whole idea is letting go. So letting go, we don't know what is underneath here. All we see in this cover is we don't know if he's going to fall into a bed of pillows, right? We don't know what's underneath there. So the goal is being able to um, be vulnerable in ourselves enough to let go of what people call us to be, what we think we should be doing because everyone else is saying that, but letting go of all
Mm.
the things that people hold to us or things we hold ourselves to,
Yep.
and being great by letting go and being free and being able to fall into the unknown and knowing that in that place of unknown, which is in this case, my mindset was love, falling into different ways of loving others, you're not going to die. You're only going to land into another place of understanding or greatness. So, yeah.
That is amazing. But I think we can probably agree that he's not falling into a bed of pillows here. But
Water?
he's falling into
Maybe,
greatness.
there we go. There we go. Maybe not pillows, but you know.
Greatness, for sure. Okay, so you've got the book written. you're happy with it, and then you send it out to editors. How did you decide that you wanted to self-publish other rather than using a publisher?
Um, to be quite frank, I there just seemed like too many loops with publishers. As far as like the way I wanted to create my book, I didn't feel like I'd have the opportunity to create it specifically the way I wanted it to. So
Hmm.
self-publishing seemed like the best option because I knew exactly, some people write and don't know exactly. They want them to just take care of everything. But I knew specifically what I wanted it to look like, what I wanted it to feel like, and I wanted it to be treated with importance. And sometimes with publishers, we have so many people writing right now that they don't pay close attention to it. I think that would be your agent that would push it a little bit more for you.
Yep.
But for publishers, they're kind of looking for what's trendy. And sometimes you may write something that's not trendy. Like cookbooks are trendy right now. If anyone's writing a cookbook, you should do it. But
Noted.
yeah, but yeah, and children's books too. I have a children's book coming out. That's later on though. But children's books as well. Those are
Will
pretty
will you
popular right
self-publish that?
I will because I like this process. So going through this
Mm.
process, I actually really like it. Um, yeah, and I built some good relationships with my manufacturers, people that produce the book, and you know, I want to help them just like they helped me. And
For sure.
yeah, they did so many extra things for me, and I appreciate that. So having control over it, I think that was what was important for me.
Ownership. So, question, if you had to give me like 5 steps, if today I decide I'm going to be a self-published author, what would be the 5 steps that you would give me? Or like, yeah, 5 steps.
Mm. They don't have, do they have to be in order and stuff, or just?
I mean, it probably would be helpful, but we can reorder them after you say them.
All right, let's see. Step one, um, just write.
Mhm.
Just write. Just keep writing. That'll be step one because I hear so many people saying, "Uh-oh,
I
can
can
you
still
see
hear
me?"
you. I
Oh,
can't see you, but I can still hear you.
okay. So yeah, step one is just write. I've heard so many people say, "Yo, I have something I want to write," and the first thing is writing. And for me, it was looking at a manuscript that I've already written and actually trying to write it and make it look like a book. So I had to start writing first in order for something to come.
Mhm.
So if you have an idea, write it down, and from there it will grow. Um, Step two, based on the book that I'm writing, I would say go out as much as you can. Talk to people as much as you can. The type of book I'm writing, it's more so about learning from other people, not only just learning from myself, but I'm a sociologist. I'm a sociology major, so
Mhm.
I really love learning from people anyway. I listen to what people say, and I always understand. I just love the beauty of people and where their mind and how they process things. So for me, um, step number two would be around people to understand how people think, what they like, what they don't like. Um, yeah, be around people. Number three, do your research. Research is important. I already shared a Facebook group,
Mhm.
50 books to 20K. I believe that's what it is. If you type that in, the group will come in and they have like a few questions you have to answer, and you can be a part of the group.
Okay.
So do your research. They had a lot of research, which I had to do on my own, like
Mm.
my ISBN number and everything. I had to research what that is. How do
Mhm.
I get that? Copywriting. How do I go about doing all of that? Um, Everything. Different platforms for editors and different people that do book covers and stuff like that. So there's resources out there. So do your research. That's number three.
Yep.
Number four. Number four. I would say I would say do a number four. Have more than one editor.
Okay.
That was important for me. Have more than one editor because one editor has a style of editing. And beforehand, I told them I don't want them messing up with my words. I just want them to kind of shift my poetic type of writing to something more structurally
Okay.
wise.
Yep.
So that was great. And then I had another editor for more of some of the biblical connotations that I had to make sure
Mm-hmm.
was biblically sound. And
Yep.
I'm not a theologian. You know what I mean? So
You
that was
feel me?
another one. And
Yep.
lastly, um, hmm. Lastly, I'd say just just move. Lastly, I'd say move in the way you feel most comfortable, because
Mm-hmm.
there's not like you have to do your cover first. You have to do this second. So I would say move in the way you feel most comfortable. For me, of course, it was writing first. That was
Mm-hmm.
motivation for me to do the rest of the stuff.
Yep.
For you, it may be once I see a cover, now I know, everyone has a different way of creating. But I would say don't get stuck on those details. Just do what you know. Like I knew how to write this first, so I finished writing it. From there, I knew nothing about publishing, so I just researched it, and then I started with um, finding an editor.
Yep.
So I went to finding an editor. You know what I mean? So do what makes sense to you.
That
There's
makes
not one
sense.
way to do it. In this group, I realized people do it so many different ways, and yeah, and just do it. Do it. DOIT. Do it. Yeah.
Do it. Ogum,
Yes.
I am super proud of you and um,
Thank you.
the fact that you did it, and that you were obedient to the call. Like I said, because there's a really good chance that I would probably have just put out the first book and it would not have done well. So I am happy that you've done it. So how did you decide what platform you were going to sell it on? How did you decide how many to order? Like, what was that process like for you?
Okay, so yeah, that process was that was a big um, that was big because of course you want to sell, but at the same time, like I said, I'm a sociologist, so I like to see what I can do with my own hands. Like I like to see what I can do on my own before I give it out to other people.
Hmm.
So my struggle was, should I give it to Amazon right away, or should I create my own platform and be able to control that? And I started off with it being on my own platform, which eventually may land on Amazon, but I think I want to engage people first.
Okay.
Um, this was a personal thing where I realized by accident that many people were supporting me, and because of
Mm,
that, I'm glad I started with my own platform. So I just
yeah,
was like, I'm gonna just throw the link out there and say please sell books, and so many people purchased before they were even here. So that actually motivated me some more to say, you know what, let me keep this platform going. I owe it to the people that believed in me to have
yeah.
something that's organic and solely just me and not out to anyone else yet. So eventually I'll end up there, but yeah.
Love
I
that.
don't know if
Thank
I
you for
answered your
sharing.
question.
No, you did.
Okay.
So you're selling these on your own website. Someone wanted to purchase the book today. Where should they find it?
Yes. So if they want to purchase a book today, they can go wakeupthesoul.com. Sorry, it's right here.
A
So
perfect.
wakeupthesoul.com, that's my website. Wake Up the Soul is it's focused more so on wellness. So my book is up there for now, but it's going to lead into some what we would consider like life coaching, but it's not going to be
Mm.
called that. That's eventually. You guys heard it first.
A
So that's
exclusive.
that's that's to come soon. But for the meantime, you can get my book up there and leave a review. When you get the book, leave a review. That's how people really understand how it touched them. I get so many people that send me like messages or different ways, just sending me messages telling me um, how the book has touched them or what things resonated with them. And it also takes a bit of vulnerability to leave a review because your name's attached to it. So be vulnerable. Leave a review. It helps me, but not only does it help me, it helps other people. I think the
Mm,
reviews are good so other people understand this is a book that possibly could benefit my life as well.
that's
You know?
perfect. Ogum, like I said, I'm super excited. I have not gotten through it yet, but
Okay.
this is this is the book I'm reading currently, and I can't wait to leave you a review once I'm done. I got one of the original pre-sale, so I've got a signed copy. So super happy,
Yes.
super excited to get through this. You guys support, support, support. Super smart, super intelligent, introspective, and so you will definitely get something from the book. I'm excited to get all the gems that you dropped. What
Thank
else do you
you.
have coming? What else? How else can the people learn more about you? I know you've got the
Sure.
clothing
Sure.
line. Share with us what you're doing.
Yes. Yes, I have a clothing. I'm actually rocking someone else's clothing line. This is my cousin's brand, One Stick. Check him out. It's a really, really good brand.
Really good brand.
But yeah, I have a brand that was actually supposed to be the forerunner, but God switched it up on me. He said, "You know what? This book is what I want you to do." So I had to
Okay.
do that. For me, that was challenging because I'm a type of person. If I say I'm gonna do something, I want to get it done. Um, but hey, when the big man speaks, you got to listen. So
You gotta be
I'm
obedient.
being obedient, and I'm glad I have been obedient. So thank you. You were right, like always. So yeah, so I have a brand. I am working on my book launch. It's going to be a virtual book launch. That should be happening in October. So you guys get ready for that. It's something I think you guys will all appreciate because it's going to be in collaboration with a few artists.
Okay.
It's not going to be only me reading my book. It's going to be me also highlighting a few different artists that uh, will touch on the acronym Verge and how it influences their work.
Okay.
So it's going to be exciting, something that you'll probably enjoy. And yeah, so that's it right now. Bianca, I see you. How you doing?
Thanks for tuning
um,
in.
yeah, so that's it really. I don't really want to promote too much except for the book and the book launch. I do have the brand. You guys can check that out on my page, amachiasad.com. It's also representative of what I feel I want to, bring to the world,
Mm,
which is beauty. So at the end of the day, they say you're like a jack of all trades. I feel like I'm a jack of one thought, beauty, and everything I do is just that. So no matter what I'm creating, um, my thought process is beauty. You know what I'm saying? So,
love that.
so that's what that's about. The book is totally about beauty, seeing it within yourself, within other people, and being so at the top of your game and realizing that you can do that. It's possible. If I can do it, you can. I came from New Haven, the hood, but the mindset of a king. So continue to realize that we all have that mindset within us. So
That's perfect. And I think that's a perfect way for us to segue out. Oh, this was beautiful. This was perfect.
thank you.
I'll
Thank
have
you.
all the information in the show notes so people can have the links to your site so that they can purchase the book and look out
Appreciate it.
for your book tour. Thank you again for being on the show. And yeah, this
Appreciate
was
it.
great. Hope everyone has a safe and happy weekend. We'll see
Thank
you
you. You
Tuesday.
guys be well.
Bye.